Good morning. I hope you are doing well and that you're having a nice day. Today is an exciting day. If you're around or can come, Camden Rodriguez is getting baptized today, so that's exciting. Um, and so that'll be up here at 5 o'clock, and it'll be a party. So 5:30. What did I say? I must have said the wrong thing. 5:30, everyone. So, yeah, if you can come. If you get here at 5, just wait along. So it'll happen. Yeah, so Billy's not preaching today. I am. So, luckily, most of y'all didn't know that, so you actually showed up. That's good for me. I said to grab a 3x5 card. If you want to just I'm not expecting you to take notes, but I want you to I'm going to ask some questions throughout this, and I would love for you to think about that, write it down. I think it'll help you be able to keep your thoughts in order and follow if you like. So pull out your phone. I really don't care. That's not a big deal to me, but if you want to take out your notes, that'd be fantastic. Getting started, I have this. Maybe it's just me, but I think that it's actually a few other people too. I think that we were created to celebrate. We're created to do a lot of things, but I think that one of the things is God made us to party, okay? That's a wild thing. We don't usually say that. We don't think that usually, actively go, God created me to party. He created me to celebrate. And I think this because I look at the Bible and I go, wow, there's a lot of sections talking about how you are to celebrate, how you need to, God creates everything, and then he creates man, and on the seventh day he rests, and then he commands man to take a Sabbath in honor of that rest. And you celebrate that Sabbath, you celebrate that rest every week. And there's a lot of rules to this celebration, but it is a celebration. You do not work. You need to be celebrating. There's the Passover festival. There's the Festival of Tents. There's a whole bunch of different festivals. It's important for God that people celebrate. And not only that, we have certain high holidays in that are even maybe more important than other holidays for God. And I kind of think that, I think Jesus liked to party, frankly. He goes to a wedding feast, and that's where he does his first miracle, right? He turns water to wine. In fact, a lot of the things that happen in Jesus' life happen at different festival times. The story of Jesus getting lost at the temple. They went to the temple for a party. It was a festival time. It was a deal. And then in Jesus' parables, he talks about parties. It's wild. He tells us about the lost sheep, and the shepherd finds the sheep, and what happens? He throws a party. The woman loses a coin. She finds the coin, and what happens? She throws a party. She has to celebrate that. The father's son comes home, and he says, and go look it up. It says, whenever he's talking to the other brother about this party that he throws for the prodigal son, it says, and we had to celebrate. It was mandatory. And even there are some things God even sort of talking about, it's mandatory to celebrate. Jesus tells another parable about this master throwing this wedding party, and he invites all these people, and people are like, nah, I can't make that. I'm busy this week. So sorry. I've got work, families coming in. It's a whole thing. I don't have time to make it to this wedding party. And they don't go. And then the master, he invites these other people, random Joes from the streets, the people you don't actually want at your party. He invites them to the party, and they come, and he's like, I have more room. So he goes even further, and he invites all these other people to the party who are from way out of town. And they all come, and they celebrate. And the ones who didn't come, they're outside. They're out of the party, if you will. And there's a lot of things about being on the outside. And in God's kingdom, I don't want to be on the outside. I want to be on the inside. I want to be where the party is. But I think God created us to party. I think he created us to celebrate. I want to ask you a couple of questions. And so the first question I really want to ask you is, what are your high holidays? You probably have these celebration times, these times that you get together with family. What are they for you? And I'm actually asking, I don't mind if you answer out loud. I usually teach a Bible class, so preaching is not where I talk and y'all don't ever say anything. That's not like a thing for me. I don't do that very often. So if you have some times that you celebrate, I would love to hear them. You can answer out loud. Thanksgiving, that's coming up, right? You celebrate Thanksgiving. It's a high holiday for your family. Somebody in the back. Yeah? Christmas, you celebrate Christmas. I love it. Yeah, you can tell we will celebrate Christmas as well. It's a high holiday. Great one. Anyone else? Easter, your birthday, something back there. Yeah, all those are great times to celebrate. I love that. In my family, it so happened to be that our great celebrations are high holidays or high holy days, if you will. They were actually Memorial Day, and it was always a thing. My family went to a cemetery that did like a memorial service with veterans and the whole thing, and we always, at the end of it, went to go see certain graves that were past family friends and stuff. And so that was a big thing we did every year. One of the other ones is definitely Thanksgiving. We would go to Tipton, Oklahoma, which if you don't know where Tipton is, don't blink. It's real small. It's in the bottom southwest corner of Oklahoma, and there's not a lot there. But all of my mom's family would descend on Tipton and like double the size of the community for 2 days or something during Thanksgiving. And that was a special time. And then Christmas, for a lot of people, Christmas would be like one of their high holidays for family, right? And of course, that was always kind of a special time for us. Whenever you think about those high holidays for you, those special holidays that are big, what's special about them? What really gives them an emphasis? Why do you celebrate them? What's good about them? Family. I like it. Yeah, good time to spend with family and remember who they are. Make sure you actually spend time with them. Good. Anything else? Food. Preach. Yeah, I'm about the food. Anything else? Time off. Yeah, it's just good to have some time off, but also it's good to say, hey, my life is not about work. I don't take all my value from my work. There's something about taking that time to be with others. Anyone else? No school. Yes, no school, yeah. That is special about your high holidays. Have you ever had a hard time celebrating your high holiday? Has it ever been difficult for you? You don't have to answer this one out loud. But has it been difficult maybe from, it's just there's so much going on in your life. It's hard to take the time away to go, I'm going to go celebrate this because you just have so many things, or it's too far away, or you're just busy, or whatever. Or has it been difficult maybe financially? You're like, this year Christmas is coming and it's going to be difficult. Or maybe it's hard to celebrate sometimes because of loss. I just don't feel like celebrating this year. I just don't feel like it. It's been too hard of a year. I don't want to celebrate another year. I miss some of those people, and that's what it reminds me of. And that hurts. Sometimes it's difficult to celebrate. I want to tell you today about a lady that I respect because it was difficult for her to celebrate. And if you want to turn over to Luke I've got to turn my Bible over, otherwise this won't work. I'm dyslexic, but I'm not that dyslexic. Um, Luke 2, or I guess it's Luke 1, sorry. I'll usually read from this Bible. Jesus, surprise, we're going to talk about Christmassy stuff. I know, you're blown away. There's Christmas trees in the back and a Christmas tree behind me. Jesus comes into the world at a time that it really doesn't make sense. At a time that it's like not a good time. And especially for Mary, who is a teenage daughter, and you may have heard all this before, or she's a teenage girl. She's got high hopes, like she is engaged, she's young, she comes from a good family, her husband comes from or future husband comes from a good family, he's got a good job, he's a carpenter, and things are looking pretty good for Mary. And one day, what happens to her but Gabriel comes to visit. And he brings her, I wouldn't call it great news normally. It would be fine, but it's just difficult timing, right? And it says in verse 26, in the 6th month, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Mary was greatly troubled. Well, yeah. I'd be a little worried if all of a sudden an angel starts talking to me. She was troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will be with child and give birth to a son, and you will give him the name Jesus." So that's like exciting, but also not great timing, What's Joseph going to think? What's everybody else in town going to think? What's my dad going to think? How am I going to tell him that? He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever. His kingdom will never end. And Mary asked the angel, "How will this be? I'm a virgin." And the angel answered, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One will be born, the Holy One will be, the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age, and she who was said to be barren is in her 6th month, for nothing is impossible with God." I'm in Mary's place. I'm like, okay, that's a lot. This is a lot. I thought life was going this way, and all of a sudden it took a left-hand turn, real unexpected. This is not a good time. This is not going to look great. I'm going to have to deal with a lot of things. But what Mary says blows me away every time. She says, "I am the Lord's servant. May it be done to me as you have said." Then the angel left her. And Mary's just amazing, isn't she? She looks at this worry, this trouble, this fear, and she goes, "All right, that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm in. I'm all in." And I think about times in my life that have been harder to celebrate. It's been harder to get excited about holidays. I don't get me wrong, I do like a good party. I do like celebrating, but sometimes it is very difficult to celebrate. And for me, one of those times is really represented by this tree. Uh, in 2001, 9/11 happened, and my brother was in the military, had been for several years, and he was in Colleen. And so we got word that he was going to be going to Iraq. And this was, obviously very troubling for my parents. And I probably wasn't quite a teenager yet. Um, and they're thinking, okay, well, he's going right at the end of the year, beginning of the year, sometime in there. And so my mom and dad pack up, and we go down to Colleen to see my brother. And we didn't have a tree that would do good in the car, so we got a tree whenever we got there, and we didn't have any ornaments for it. So my brother had actually, if you can see up here, you may not be able to see him, but he had gotten all these Tabasco sauces from the MREs. So all of his guys in his group, they'd have Tabasco sauce in their MREs, and most of them weren't from Texas or Louisiana, so they weren't into the hot stuff. And so they would give them all to Brandon, and my dad loves Tabasco sauce. And so my brother had saved them all up, and he'd given them to my dad. So we tied ribbons around them, and we put them on the tree. That was our decoration that year. And I think about difficult to celebrate. It was difficult for me, sort of, but for my parents, I really cannot put myself in their place now that I have a daughter, now that I have a child, to think, this would be difficult to celebrate. I mean, I want to celebrate, but the unknown, the fear of what could happen, this could be the last. But to go in the wake of that and try to celebrate is of value. And so today, whenever I think of Mary, that's what I think of. Is in the fear of unknown and the fear of worry, she celebrates, and she celebrates this way. We have this whole time where she meets up with her cousin, and Elizabeth's, going to have a baby, and Mary sees her, and they greet each other, and Mary says this, and I'm going to read it out of the Message. That's why I usually don't use this Bible, but it's one of those with the double thing, so it makes it easy for me. But excuse me if it's hard for me to read it. Mary said to her, I'm bursting with good news. I'm dancing the song of my Savior God. God took one good look at me, and look what happened. I'm the most fortunate woman in all the earth. What God has done for me will never be forgotten. The God whose name is holy, set apart from all others, his mercy flows in wave after wave to those who are in awe before him. He bared his arms and showed his strength, scattered the bluffing braggarts. He knocked tyrants off their high horses, pulled victims out of the mud, and the starving poor sat down to a banquet. All the cautious, callous rich were left outside in the cold. He embraced his chosen child, Israel. He remembered and piled on. The mercies piled them high. That's Mary celebrating. That's Mary saying, you know what? This is rough. It's not a great time. But I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to actively do that. And I'm going to remember why I'm doing it. And you read why she does it in this. I mean, she does it because this is God reclaiming his child. This is God saying, I've broken through the barriers to bring you home. I've brought the poor to the table. The captives are set free. Whenever you celebrate, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or I don't care, whatever you're celebrating, you have a chance to celebrate redemption. You have a chance to celebrate salvation. You have a chance to remember Jesus came, died, but better than that is that he was raised from the dead. And so whenever you celebrate whatever you're celebrating, you get to celebrate that. And so whenever you think, why do I celebrate these holidays? Why do I celebrate anything? You celebrate anything because death isn't the end. We practice resurrection. And we're in the middle of, I feel bad for the disciples, right? They live in a time Jesus dies and they're like, oh no, I don't know. Could death have the last word? We don't live in that time frame. Jesus already conquered death. We're in a time frame where we go, oh, all of creation is being resurrected. And so whenever I celebrate a child being born, I'm celebrating resurrection. Whenever I celebrate a birthday, I'm celebrating resurrection. Whenever I celebrate, hey, I've made some milestones in my life. I am getting better as a person. I'm celebrating resurrection. And as you celebrate resurrection, you celebrate creation in that and God doing that for all of us. My ending thing is get out there and celebrate. And if it's hard, push through it. Remember what you're celebrating for. It makes it easier. And it makes you better. Thank you.